to the flag
flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic
Republic
for which it stands,
One nation.
one nation,
Under
under
God.
God,
God,
Indivisible.
indivisible,
With
with liberty
and
justice
justice
for all.
Thank you.
I believe, is this Bob that just called in?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Good. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, addition or deletion, Kristen?
This is Kristen. Quick little obligatory PSA, just so everybody is reminded, these meetings are recorded for the purpose of PEG TV. And so before everybody speaks this evening, just be sure to identify yourself. Thank you very much. This is Kristen speaking, and we have an addition. Mike Wesco has requested to be a part of the meeting this evening. So I presume under pre-requested appearances, if that's okay with the board. Also, I thought, as per some emails that came in, the board might like to discuss the energy coordinator position. So I just am posing that as an addition as well, if you'd like to talk about it.
That could slide into the new business portion probably, right?
Yeah, either new or old. It hasn't really been discussed much.
Okay.
And then that's all. Otherwise, we have the budget approval has been added under the treasurer's memo. So I'm not sure if you guys still are planning to do that tonight. And the other thing that was also on the agenda was to continue talking about the SOQs. So I don't know if anything needs to be removed or not, but
Well, we didn't get, Jill and I haven't got to finalize the SOQs yet. So
okay.
that's not going to happen tonight. So.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. Could you go through and introduce everyone, please, Kristen? I think that works the best.
Sure. This is Kristen. Members in attendance this evening, we have Mike Beecher, John Malcolm, Chuck Whedon, Ed Cleveland, and Bob Jones. Others in attendance, we have Kristen Powers, John Sabatka, Mandy Hewlett, Michael Wesco, Deb Hawkins, and Julie Mack. We did have Frank Nelson, and I anticipate his return. He's just figuring out his preferred viewing options.
Okay, thank you. Minutes from the last meeting. How did everybody think? Oh, Kristen?
So this is Kristen. Just two quick things that had been edits for the previous meeting. So I had to add Frank Nelson to others in attendance. I forgot to put his name down on the attendance list. And also in item 7, section F, as in Frank, which is the treasurer's memo, I had to make a typo correction. I had stated that Deb Hawkins was the town treasurer, not the town clerk. So I just had to edit. So those were just two corrections from my end.
Okay. Anybody else see anything that they felt needed to be corrected or? Okay, somebody want to make a motion? We approve the minutes?
John will.
Okay, John will make a motion. Do I hear a second?
Ed will second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor? Chuck?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Pre-requested. Mike, you're on deck. Mr. Wasco, your turn? We're not able to hear you.
Kristen, this is Julie. Can you unmute him? Oh, he's unmuted.
This is Kristen. He's on here twice, I think under maybe two different devices. So I'm not sure which one to hone in on.
Deb Hawkins is back. I'm sorry about that.
No, thank you.
There are too many irons in the fire tonight.
Yeah,
Also, Keith Mason has
he joined us.
joined.
And another 645 number.
Frank.
That's
Frank?
Frank.
Okay. Mike Wesco, can you hear us?
Guess not.
I guess not either.
Might
we have
as well
any-
move on.
Yeah, do we have any announcements? If he gets together, he can join us when he can get himself together.
This is Kristen. I just have one quick announcement, just an update for the board. Our new web coordinator, Sean Ruck, has officially been onboarded, and he has been introduced and connected with Elizabeth Gibson, and they are beginning trainings. And I've asked that they just keep us and the board up to speed as they progress. And for now, I will include Sean on any communications that I have with Elizabeth and wait for them to give us the final update when he's ready to go on his own.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Kristen.
No problem.
No other
No other.
announcements?
Okay.
Okay, I guess we can go to reports. Zoning administrators report.
This is Kristen again. I did not receive anything from Jonas between last meeting and this pertaining to a report. Has anybody else received anything from him?
I haven't seen anything. Is there anything from the planning commission?
Also have not, this is Kristen again. I'm not sure if anybody here from the commission has anything to report. No report has been submitted.
Right, they
This
have a meeting.
is John Sabatka. We
Hi,
haven't
John.
had any meetings since the last meeting, so there's nothing really to report.
Okay, thank you, John. Road foreman.
Did everyone get the message from Keith that I forwarded along this evening? It was shortly after 4 o'clock.
No, didn't see it. This is Ed. Didn't see it.
I didn't
Not
see
on
it.
mine either. This
No.
is Chuck.
No,
I didn't see it.
Apparently it
Keith,
didn't go through.
Would you like to go through it, Keith, or shall
Yeah,
I?
it's pretty basic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just ongoing, ready for winter. We actually geared up. We put wings on today in anticipation on what the prediction is. Our plan, as weather permits, is going to be to try to prepare for next summer's projects. We've got that grant that's coming down on the lower end of the Herrick Road, and we've got tree and brush work down there that's got to be done prior to that. And we'll need permits on that one, so we'll work on that through the winter. And that's will be one of our priorities through the winter, I guess, is to get ready, because as discussed before, we have to show substantial completion by June 1st down there. So that's probably going to have to be where we focus our attention for the time being.
Okay, that makes good sense. Are you going to need a lot of material drawn in for that, Keith? You're going to have to do something stabilizing the bank there. What?
Yeah,
What do you
I'm actually meeting Josh Carvajal down there at noon tomorrow, and just in review of, we have met and discussed when we started applying for that grant, but as we know, that was over a year ago. And the discussion at that time was, rather than riprap, he wanted to build walls like retaining walls, like we did one up on Tadmer, just so that we don't fill in the floodplain, because it's pretty narrow next to the road there. So I think we're gonna have to draw in blocks from the quarry in West Pawlet and lay them up in, like retaining wall type fashion. And then
Okay.
we'll incorporate a slate bed on the road that ties right into that for drainage. So that was what the grant we applied for was. I believe the grant part of it is a 500-foot stretch where we're close to the river. And then below that, we'll finish to the Rupert line just because we're right there. 2/3 of it is grant, and the other third, we'll probably bite the bullet out of our own pocket and finish it. It's the same stretch we discussed when we worked on the Herrick Road the other time. We left that stretch in anticipation that we could get some funding to help pay for it, so.
Okay, good. So then we won't need to buy any material. We can just use the slate blocks that are in the quarry
I
itself.
think we can use the slate blocks and that'll be part of my discussion with Josh, but I don't know why we won't. It was acceptable last time, but sometimes in these grant situations, if it's one town has access to something that's not fair or competitive with other towns around the state, they sometimes frown on it. So I think it will be all right. And that's what our plan was. And I'll just firm that all up with Josh when I meet with him tomorrow. And we'll go over it and make sure there's no surprises going in, because we're going to have to, we'll get the tree work done this winter. And then shortly after, we're going to have to get started on it in the spring in order to get completion by. And I think they say June 1st because I think they want to pay that money out by the end of the fiscal year, which would be the 30th. So that's why we have to get the billing statements in and everything shortly after June 1st, and then they can go forward from there.
Okay, so when we get in on a project like that, due to the fact that the trucking is going to be a long way, are we going to be able to work with Rupert on that, or what's your thought on that?
Now, I think yes. There's nothing that says Rupert is not going to be available to help us.
Okay. Now,
I don't know what they have planned, and we have to kind of fit that in too. And if they have a pressing spring project or something that comes up, that may limit it. But yeah, that would be our plan, is to go forward and work with Rupert. And it may, hopefully we can get the rock and get it loaded, and then that will help us out if we don't have to rent an excavator to load.
Right.
And
then all you have to do is have something to be placed in the blocks.
Right. And we can, which will be an excavator, but if we have to have an excavator on each end, it gets expensive, and we'll try to avoid that.
Right.
And we may have an excavator down there if we're doing it and placing the blocks. I think the best option in that respect down there is to close the road.
Right.
And then, well, with an excavator there, we might not have to flatten every load. We may be able to dump load to load to load right up the road, and then go up through with the excavator and flatten it off. And so guys could be drawing rock for the top of the road, as well as, blocks to, I think it's about 200 feet of rock wall it'll have to be laid. So it'll take a little time. It's not high, it's only 4 to 5 feet, but it still will be time consuming.
Okay. So if you're in a position where you need to run an excavator, would it make sense for us to try and hire somebody to run our third truck?
It may very well, Mike. We've had that discussion in the past, and it may very well, we'll have to, that's a game time decision when we get closer to where we're at and see where we are. And, there's stumps to be pulled, and, there's stuff to go away as well as come back. And, it'll be, and we'll have to see what the spring does to us. We don't know.
Right.
There could be a 30-day span there, depending on the weather, whether we can get started or not. And
Right.
some of the stuff in the brook, depending on the brook, which I'll firm up with Josh tomorrow, we may have a start date that required of us when we can start in the brook itself.
Okay.
So it depends on trout stream status, and, you know, it's just, those are all questions that we'll know a little more about after I meet with Josh tomorrow, so.
Okay. All the trucks, everything is in good condition as far as
We're
you
all
know
in
at
good
this point?
shape, yep, which we've gone through everything this, in the past 2, 3, 4 weeks off and on, but we do have one project we would like to dive into, and we'll have to see how the weather allows it, but we would like to expand our turnaround a little bit up on the end of the Red Top Road, and, so if it does work out that we can do some of that, we will, you know, we'll be doing that in the near future. Otherwise, it'll be postponed till spring, I'm sure. So, but it would be nice
Okay.
to, something we've had on the list for a couple of years and it just hasn't got done. And it just would make it easier to get a truck turned around up there. That's all. So.
Okay. And any progress report on the new truck?
No, and I haven't talked to them lately. Last I talked with them, they had us in and they were working on the cab controls and that type of stuff, but no components had been put on. And we got jumped ahead because they couldn't on delivery of some other vehicles, but since then, they've had 3 state vehicles come in, which they're on a contract deadline to finish. So those would probably jump back ahead of us before they finish us up maybe. So, but he had originally said, even with that in there, that we should see it, you know, Christmas or shortly after. So I'm thinking we're going to get some kind of a input from them here pretty quick.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Keith? Any comments?
Chuck, I got your message. Yeah, we did get your tires taken care of. You should see a statement there. Well, it may not have come yet because I used Julie's credit card there, but it was $240 to get rid of them.
Okay.
So, and other than that, I guess that's what I have to offer.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Keith. Assessor's report?
This is Kristen. There was no report submitted, but you were all forwarded an email from Karen. Hopefully you got it, and it had her proposed 2021 budget and then a proposed 2022 budget letter.
Okay, yeah, I got that. Did everybody else see that?
Yes.
Okay.
This is Ed. Why is it that we never get a report from the assessors? I mean, it's been months, seems like. There's been nothing.
I agree with you. This is John.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to,
I'll give
We'll
her
have to
a call
reach out.
tomorrow. I'll give her a call tomorrow.
okay. Thank you, John. Town clerk's memo? Deb?
Yep, I'm here. Thank you. One thing that you guys need to decide tonight is whether or not you're going to require, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, whether or not you're going to require signatures on appropriation petitions. You have a system in place right now where if the appropriation request is under $500, they just need to submit a letter requesting that they be on the ballot. The other thing that you put in place a few years ago was that if they've asked for a specific amount of money and it was on the ballot for the same amount for 3 years in a row, they no longer have to submit a signature petition. That would be for appropriations over $500. As of right this moment, all of the appropriation requests that were on last year's ballot have fulfilled that 3-year in a row requirement. So theoretically, none of them would need signatures on petitions. One new request has come in already for under $500, so their request is grandfathered in. Now herein lies the question going forward. We have gotten a request from a body, the fire departments, and they are considering increasing their request. So now they are falling under the category of needing to get signatures to be on the ballot for an amount of money that is different than their last 3 years' request. So you guys need to decide, because this is the time when signatures need to be procured. Are you going to require signatures on petitions in the case of appropriation requests? That's a substantial amount of signatures based on our voter participation, because they need to know. Or are you going to waive that requirement? Or are you going to allow remote signatures, or however way they're doing it? You should make a decision tonight, but at the very least, if you make a decision and you want to pursue it further, you should designate one of yourselves the authority to make the decision after you maybe poll other select boards to see what they're doing. The listserv is showing that some select boards are still requiring the signatures in person. Other select boards are waiving the in-person signatures, but you as a board, this is your purview, this is your decision. I can't tell people what they need to do. The state did pass legislation, temporary legislation, that waives the requirement to get signatures on candidate nominations. So anybody who wants to run for an office does not need to garner signatures, which is only 1% that they would need to get, but they do have to submit a consent of candidate form. That was something that they put into place for the primary election as well. So, but they've left it up to the select boards with regard to the appropriations and articles. The other thing is that tomorrow morning, Andy is coming to inspect the elevator that expires, I think the 21st or the 18th. Anyway, within a week or so, our inspection on the elevator expires. So he's coming first thing in the morning. We have gone to all remote at the office based on the rapidly increasing numbers of COVID cases in the state of Vermont, and a directive that was issued, an executive order that says that all businesses, entities, not-for-profit entities, and municipal government entities shall reinstitute to the maximum extent possible, or re-emphasize to the extent necessary, telecommuting or work from home procedures, discouraging in-person meetings. They are encouraging it to be done by telephone. In the office, we have begun to stagger out our hours so that we're not a full house at any given time, and doing some work from home. Hopefully this doesn't last long. That puts Sue and I in a position of sending indexes via the email and pulling documents, copying or scanning them and sending them through email, so that the function of the office continues without interruption, other than the fact that we are going to be closed for a couple of weeks like we are every year at this time. So I think real estate transactions, we have put through a lot, and a lot are still coming. So it's been very, very busy with really no let up. I think that's all I have. if anybody has any questions. I do encourage you to make a decision on the petitions ASAP, so that when people call, we can inform and guide them appropriately.
Okay, now how does everybody feel about the petition thing? Anybody want to make a motion? Seems to me that with the state of affairs going on, we should just not require the signatures for this election. That's my opinion. What's anybody else think?
This is Ed. I question, I don't have a problem with it if it's the same amount as the previous years. I do have a problem with one person making the decision on the amount to be raised with really no oversight from anyone else. Am I getting that wrong, or could that happen?
No, I
Oh, go ahead.
I think that John Weiss is just reaching out there to see how it goes as a spokesman for the fire departments as a whole. He's not just deciding on his own.
No. I think he's representing some conversations that both fire departments have had.
That's the way I interpret it.
Did I send you guys his email?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I sent it along. Yeah.
Yes.
This is Chuck. There was no amounts on that, Deb.
It doesn't matter what the amount is. That's what the petition is for. All he's saying is that there's a pretty good likelihood that they're going to be asking for more than they have asked for in the past. They have already fulfilled that requirement for the 3 years running. Everybody on the ballot last year has fulfilled that requirement as of last year. But now he's saying, well, what happens if we find that we need to raise that? He's just putting all his eggs in a row so that as the fire departments are meeting and deciding what their needs are, they will know what they need to do going forward.
John? Go ahead.
Yeah, this is John. I'm concerned about people's health and people knocking on doors to sign petitions, but I'm also concerned about we're getting up to a level of appropriation requests that make it hard for town voters to get through the ballot easily. And I have a second comment that would be, can we exclude the fire department from that requirement, as they're kind of been an essential service, and let everybody else be on a different basis? But I am worried about, I don't want to say frivolous, but I want to have serious, sometimes getting signatures creates somewhat of a threshold that people have to make, so you don't get inconsequential articles on the ballot.
So that's a very good point, John. And I'm not at all savvy with social media and how everything goes on. But I mean, could you do something as simple as, like, I guess if you're on Facebook, you can like something. Is that correct, Kristen? You can mark down that you like something. I don't know. I've never been on Facebook. So, but I hear people talking, and you can post likes, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if the fire department put out that they wanted to ask for $10,000 more on some type of Facebook post, and people could identify themselves and clicked on that they liked it and were in favor of that, is that some kind of way that you could electronically get signatures? I don't know. Is that something that would be approved by the?
This is
No.
I think that platform specifically would be exclusive. For example, someone such as yourself would not be able to weigh in. due to, not using it. There are online survey features. However, I'm not sure how that would be able to be executed efficiently given the time frame.
This is Ed again. I like John's idea. I would go along with that to basically make the fire department exempt, and they could ask for what they need. But no other organizations. The other ones would have to be held at their amount of the last 3 years.
This
Okay,
is Frank.
go ahead, Frank.
This is, I think the select board has the option of to put some of this stuff on the ballot or not. And the fire departments should submit a letter to the select board or have a representative appointed to attend a select board meeting. And then the select board could make a decision based on an appeal from them and have it documented. That would be, and then vote to make the exception once you've received the appeal in writing, say, from the fire department for funds. And then you can put it on the ballot at will. As far as polling the town goes, I don't know if the state of Vermont has guidance on all this. I think they were authorizing no signatures from the state level somehow.
For candidate positions.
Right. So they may have a position on this, and I don't know if they do or not.
No.
On how stuff gets on the ballot. They don't.
No, they are not taking any position with regard to the appropriations. My feeling is that, yeah, the fire departments are critical to our community. It could be argued that there are other organizations that are critical to our community also. I think what you simply need to do right now is decide whether or not you're going to require signatures on a petition face to face. If you want to make it so that the fire departments are on there all the time, no matter what. John's point about the length of time that it takes people to get through a ballot is valid. And this year with town meeting, we are going to follow the same protocol that we did for the primary and the general elections, which means that people are going to be waiting outside for a significant amount of time. The warning and the articles, everything that people are voting for is based on your decisions as a board. You can accept any of them. That's why when we have the meeting where I bring the warning for signature, that's when you as a board are deciding what is going to be on the ballot for people to vote on. You can accept all of the appropriation requests. You can deny all of the appropriation requests. You can join them all together in one article, which is really not advisable because if one goes down, they all go down. Or you can accept a percentage of each appropriation request. Those are all things that are within your purview as a board. But the question on the table right now is, are you going to make organizations get face-to-face signatures in this time of COVID? We've only had one additional request for it to be on the ballot, so it will be adding one more article for an appropriation request. So we are going to try to encourage as much as we can early and absentee voting like we did for the general and primary. The only difference is that it's going to be all on our shoulders. We're not going to get any financial assistance thus far from the Secretary of State's office. We're going to probably send out postcards inviting people to request an absentee early voting ballot. But the same is going to hold true. I mean, if people come to the polls to vote, they're going to be waiting outside. They can fill their ballots out before they come. They can fill their ballots out outside, but we can't have X amount of people in the building at any given time. So John's point is right. You guys all know that appropriation and article ballot is long. It's a very long ballot, and in the future, you may want to consider creative ways to handle the appropriation.
So Deb, even if somebody has a petition with enough signatures, we can still deny that we don't want it on the ballot?
It's a board decision.
Right.
They're coming to you. They're petitioning you as a board.
So if we don't feel that we want that on the ballot, we can deny them and they don't go on. So if we feel it's something we're not in favor of, everybody does it just because they have the signatures. That doesn't automatically mean that they get to put it on the ballot.
I believe that is correct, Mike.
Okay.
You, as a board, get to review the warning, the articles, the requests, the petitions, whatever you. It's all for you to review.
Okay.
And you can, it might not be a bad idea to call other boards and see how they handle the appropriations. I know that there's some towns that have half the amount of appropriations that Pawlet does. And I'm not saying that any of the organizations aren't useful in some way. They are all useful to somebody. And the one that we have a request for now is also a useful organization. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But it's something for you to consider. You have more of an active role in this than you may think you do. So if you have a couple of select board members from other towns that you feel comfortable with, I have been getting phone calls from select board members from other towns asking questions about our procedures. So I think it's completely appropriate for you to find out what other select boards are doing.
Okay. So
This is
we've
Frank.
had quite a lot of discussion about this. Gentlemen, what do you think we want to go? Do we want to require signatures? Do we, if they're looking to change the quantity that they're asking for, or do we want to require no signatures? I don't really know of a clear-cut way we can exclude the fire department right now with the signature thing, but make everything else provide one.
This is Frank.
Go ahead.
My understanding, because we went through a bunch of stuff years ago on this, and I was in attendance at meetings then. And the select board, that I didn't hear Deb say, but the select board can even in any year put something on the ballot, because the select board can do that for a budget item, for an approval on the ballot, without a petition at all. So you have a lot of discretion, as Deb said. In the past, that's what I understand. I don't know if Deb can correct me on that, but that's what my understanding was. Thank you.
This is Ed. With
Ed?
what has been said, I would feel comfortable putting a motion out there to exempt organizations from getting signatures. If the board can, go through them after.
Right, and review them before we put them on the
Review
ballot.
them before they're put on the ballot. I would make that motion.
Okay. Do I hear a second on that motion, or any more discussion, or?
This is Bob. I'll second that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion made and second. How's everybody vote? Chuck?
I'm, I guess I'll vote no.
Okay. John?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed.
So
All
we are
right.
not going to require signatures going forward.
We're not
for this
requiring
year.
signatures
Perhaps
For
you
this
could have.
election.
here.
Yeah,
For
that's what I
this
was
year.
gonna say, Ed. I was gonna say, maybe you want to add that it's for this year during COVID, do something to word it that way.
This upcoming election
Right.
due to COVID.
Right. Kristen, go ahead.
Just confirm, this is Kristen, just confirming the wording. So motion is made to waive signatures for appropriations over $500 for this year's election due to COVID, given that the board has the opportunity to review requests prior to final approval.
Yes, perfect.
Correct.
Just what I
And it
said.
passed.
Exactly what you said.
Exactly, word for word.
Good, good job, Ed.
I am so astute.
Indeed. Okay.
Okay, I don't think I have anything else.
All right.
Thank-
Thank you very much. Anybody
Yeah.
have any questions, Deb, other than what we've discussed? Thank you, Deb. Have a good night.
Yep, thank you, everybody. You have a good night too.
Thanks, Deb.
Town treasurer. Julie, how are you doing?
You're muted.
I'm well, thank you.
Good, good.
I don't have much, just the two warrants. Kim had sent them to you. I hope that you got them. There was
Yes, we did.
some confusion on the payroll warrant. She ended up, it's not the warrant that she sent you, it's the invoice edit list. But I think we can move forward with this. We have a sort of a history of, I had a time when my system was down and I wasn't able to print the warrant. So I put everything in an Excel spreadsheet and we signed that and moved forward with it. And then when I was able to, I printed the warrant and somebody signed it retroactively. So if Bob will sign that invoice edit list, then we can reprint a warrant and have that signed later.
Okay. Everybody good with that?
Yes.
Looks good. Okay, thank you.
Yep, and I just wanted to just read for the record, because I've been keeping the numbers up for everybody. The payroll was $8,039.32. Accounts payable was $12,729.70. General fund monies, $7,018.41. Highway, $13,215.11. And then wastewater was $535.50.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions regarding any of that? Okay, do we want to have a motion made to accept the warrants?
This is Chuck. I'll make the motion to accept the warrants as we received.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
This is Ed. I'll second that.
I'd second it. All in favor? Chuck?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Okay. Warrant approved. Any other questions for Julie? Okay. Thank you, Julie.
Yep.
The budget. Now, everybody's had those papers. We've had a chance to review them. Anybody see anything in there that they have any questions about, or can we just lock them down right now and be done with this? John?
This is John. I think we have to discuss this assessor's budget somewhat because it changes. I don't know if we have to do it in the executive session, but there
How much?
estimated raise in pay that's much higher than other town employees that we discussed previously.
Okay. I guess because it is wages and private, we probably do need to discuss that in executive session. So I guess.
Okay.
So if anything was to change, then you'd have to redo that whole budget, Julie, or could we couldn't really vote it without the numbers all changing, right?
I have my spreadsheet, so it wouldn't take that long.
Okay. So do we want to go into executive session right now and deal with this and be done with it so that we can adjust this budget if we need to and have this behind us.
This is Ed.
Everybody's
I
had
would
a
like to-
chance. You would
I'm
like
sorry.
to? Okay.
I would like to. And then it's done.
Okay, so, good. So you want to make a motion to go into executive session for,
Yeah,
and what's the proper term, Kristen, because it's employee wages?
To discuss employee labor relations agreements.
Okay.
Wages.
Okay, so Ed just made that motion. Does somebody want to second that motion? And then Kristen will explain how this is all gonna unfold.
I'll second it.
Okay, John made a motion and second. All in favor? Chuck?
Yes.
John?
Yes,
Ed?
yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Okay. So Kristen, if you can put everybody in a waiting room, please, for a few minutes while we discuss this.
Yep, so this is Kristen, just so everybody is aware, all members of, or all attendees of the meeting who are not members of the select board will be placed back into the waiting room. We'll do that for the duration of the time that the board is in executive session, and when executive session ends, we'll all be welcomed back out of the waiting room when the board will make a motion to exit, and we will continue onward from the meeting. So I am now going to pause the meeting recording, place everybody into the waiting room, and we will pick back up when they are complete. Okay. This is Kristen. The recording has been resumed of the meeting, and all attendees have been admitted once again.
Okay, does somebody want to make a motion to exit executive session with no decisions made?
Donald, make that motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second
I'll
that.
second that. This is Bob.
Okay. You got one of those two? Did you tag one of those two, Kristen?
Yeah, I got Bob.
Okay, good. Okay, all in favor, Chuck?
Yes.
John?
Yes,
Ed?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Okay. So now, do we want to, the next thing on our list is to approve the budget. Do we want to make any changes, or do we want to approve it as is?
I'll make the motion. This is Chuck. I'll make the motion that the budget amounts remain where they are.
Okay. Do I have a second on that motion?
This is Ed. I'll second it.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor of the budget being the way that it's written, the information that Julie had presented to us? Chuck?
Yes.
John?
yes,
Ed?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor. Thank you, Julie. We've approved this budget. I mean, do we need to put those totals in
Yeah,
the minutes, right? So
yeah.
you'll just connect with Kristen and make sure that all those totals are correct from the documents that you have shared with us.
Sure. Do you want me to just say what the numbers are or no?
That would be fine. Let's go with Kristen. Yep.
Oh, and that's for the highway as well?
Yes.
Okay. So the general fund budget is $463,290.
Okay.
The highway budget is $605,358.
Got it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Excellent, thank you. And so we're all done with the town treasurer. Anybody else have anything for the treasurer? Okay, thank you, Julie. Emergency Management Director. Anything on that this meeting, Kristen?
No,
No, and nor the health officer.
that's correct. Nothing for either this evening.
The treatment plant, there was an inspection down there at the wastewater treatment plant, I think last week, one day. Preliminaries, everything's, I haven't heard anything back since the meeting, but at one point during the meeting, she said everything was going okay. We had a problem with the heat, but we were working through that, and she got a hold of Irving, and apparently they came and corrected it, and I haven't heard anything different. So as far as the SOQ discussions, we were going to get together after she had a chance to review them, and we haven't made that connection yet. So that will be on the agenda for the upcoming, well, I don't know if it'll happen in the next weeks or two, but it'll happen at some point. Older unfinished business, energy coordinator. What did you want to bring up about that, Kristen?
So this is Kristen. I just wanted to keep it current in discussions that the energy coordinator role has been listed for a little bit of time now on the website. So far, we still have received one application, which you have all seen in your inboxes, from Frank Nelson. And that's all that I have. There were some email correspondences that you were all copied on throughout the last 2 weeks, kind of discussing that position and how it might be prevalent these days. So I just simply wanted to keep it on the radar for you guys.
Okay. Well, with everything going on, I'd like to just kind of keep that on the radar for a little bit longer, and so we can just get through the rest of this meeting and.
Okay.
This is
keep
Frank. Can I
going.
make a comment?
Yes.
What I've learned is that there was a draft for an energy plan, and and Jessica got the stuff from Harry, and I read it. And what we're going to probably do is put the energy on the energy draft on the agenda for the Planning Commission to address, if not this month, then next month. The importance of the energy plan is that we have to have one, apparently, if we want to have some kind of a pseudo standing with regards to the location of energy products in the town of size with the state, indicating what we want and don't want via the plan. And the statute, the description of the energy coordinator is that the energy coordinator should be cooperating with the Planning Commission. And I was thinking, well, maybe just fold up the energy coordinator position and just let the Planning Commission do it, because it's planning that they're doing anyways. And but there is a position that doesn't have much teeth for the energy coordinator, but really what we're going to be discussing at that meeting and next meeting is more, I'm going to bring it up as an agenda item on the commission, and Jessica's kind of already taken that and moving it forward, saying that we need to review the draft as the Planning Commission, because it is a planning document. And so before we get to you, I think what's going to happen is that the energy draft is going to be reviewed by the Planning Commission and because it has to coordinate with land use and a bunch of stuff. So so that's what's probably going to happen. So there's no urgency for the energy coordinator right now, because there is a draft out there and the Planning Commission is going to go forward with it. If there was an energy coordinator, then the coordinator basically should be attending all the Planning Commission meetings, and it might be a regular agenda item, energy, at the Planning Commission going forward, which the energy coordinator would be having to attend all Planning Commission meetings and work with the Planning Commission and but the planning commission can carry forth as it is now. So there's not. So what you're saying is not. It's not urgent that that the coordinator position be filled, but it is probably of importance that we finish the energy plan at the planning commission and get it to the select board, and maybe have public comment and a hearing possibly on it, because it is a planning document and voted on and approved by the select board. And because of this, if somebody wants to put, windmills up or something, someplace of, this gives us more standing if we have an energy plan. Without an energy plan, it's up to the state, period. Okay. So it is an important document, but the planning commission has what it needs now to move forward with it. And if you read the statute on energy coordinator, it's kind of a job, of sorts, but it's but it's not really that big a deal for the town to where it's urgent. But it could be moving forward with directions regarding the state's desires to be green energy to a certain extent within a certain number of years.
Sounds like you and the planning commission have a good direction with that. We'll keep you posted. Thank you, Frank.
Yep.
Is there any more old or unfinished business? Okay. New business. What do we got for new business, Kristen?
So I'm just following up that email that you sent, Mike, about the request for funds for additional lights for the town green.
Yeah, I heard no negative feedback, so I approved it. Julie's worked out a spot where she could find it, and I sent Judy a message. So Thank you.
That's all I've got.
Okay. Anybody else have any new business? Public comment.
This is Ed.
Okay.
I just have a comment about, couldn't the $100 come? I'm just throwing this out. Couldn't the $100 without a spot? Couldn't it come out of like the clerk's slush fund or whatever?
I don't know. Julie found something.
Okay, good. It's done then. All right.
Yeah. She's got it under control. She assured me so. I gave Judy the go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, good.
Public comment. Anybody in the audience want to make any public comment tonight at this meeting?
I saw Mandy on at one point. Did she leave or
No,
didn't she have something?
She's on, but I don't know if she has any desire to speak. Ken, do you have anything to say? Mandy.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Mandy, would you like to speak?
No, I'm good. I was just listening.
Excellent. Thank you. Ken, what about you? Anything? Nothing. All right, good. I think it's up to you then, Ed.
Oh, hey, I make a motion to adjourn this meeting?
What about Jennifer Sullivan?
Oh, is she?
No, I'm just listening in tonight.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. All right, so Ed's made the motion, and Chuck, did you
I'll
just second
it.
All right, all in favor, Chuck?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes. Good night, everyone.